Hello and welcome to Cricbuzz Live in association with our fantasy partner, My 11 Circle. I'm Gaurav Kapur. This is my cup of coffee. It's my cup of Joe. And I'm ready for the second last game, the penultimate game, the semi-final. Or is it a qualifier? Or is it an eliminator? Or is it option D, all of the above? That don't matter because there's two teams coming out today and one of them will go forward to play the final against Chennai, who's waiting in Dubai, saying, hey, we don't want none of this Sharjah slow pitch nonsense because we qualified after playing one game, is what Chennai did. And Delhi, who lost that game in Dubai, now has to travel to Sharjah, where Kolkata actually won the game against Bangalore. And they are playing this game today, which is the semi-final, or the eliminator, or the qualifier. Call it what you may. I prefer to call it Bobby. Why? Because, hey, man, whatevs, bro, whatevs. I've got two dear friends here with me from different parts of the world. One from what is called the Gurgaon of the West. That's the United Kingdom. Michael Vaughan. And one who is from the Gurgaon of the East, which is actually Gurgaon, which is Professor Joy Bhattacharjya. Is that accurate, Joy?
Absolutely. It's totally accurate. I think it's absolutely accurate. Except that, on their gunplay and on their arms and ammunition and all, they need to pick up their game. I think the UK still hasn't got their game right.
I mean, the country style weapons. The country style weapons, in those. Yeah. But Michael will say that he agrees with that partially. First, I will ask Michael if he's ever been to Gurgaon. And secondly, do you want to kind of veto me and say that only Bristol is the Gurgaon of the West?
This Bristol thing.
So that tells me that Gurgaon is a bad spot. Yeah, it's not the place that I should be visiting because I don't really like going to Bristol. Is that true? Sorry, I was looking down at my phone. I was just giving us a bit of an Instagram promo. Joe, are you on Instagram?
No, I'm not on Instagram, but I need to get on.
Come on.
What is this?
Come on. I was looking for you. All those questions that you asked, you could post a question every day on Instagram and bamboozle.
Yeah, what is this? All. Amateur hour. Come on, Joy. Pick a game up.
Okay.
Pick it up.
Okay,
Pick up a game.
You guys have done it. I'm officially on Instagram from tomorrow. Done.
Excellent. That's fantastic. What are you going to call it? Tales of Joy? Joy Factor? A little sprinkling of joy? Because you're not getting Joy Bhattacharjya. That's probably gone, long gone. So you got to do one of these things.
No. I have what you call a dormant account. So I registered Joy Bhattacharjya a long time back. So it's sitting there like an extinct volcano. It's bubbling under.
We have.
Can I suggest something? I think we should launch your Instagram account now.
Just do it now.
And let's see how many followers we could get you by the end of the show.
Yeah, let's do it right now. You've been squatting on prime real estate, which is such a Gurgaon thing to do. So that's amazing. You're squatting on prime real estate. So fantastic. All right, listen, guys, before you think I'm doing some G-Town bashing, G-Boy is from G-Town, all right? So, yeah, I can do it. I can talk about the place. It's mine. It's mine. It's not yours. It's nobody's. Well, which of your teams is playing today? Is it Delhi or is it Kolkata? Well, the thing is, of course, Kolkata comes in with form. They beat Bangalore. This pitch, we got to talk about the surface because it's such an important, integral part of this contest. It really plays into their hands, doesn't it?
Yeah, so when they played on this pitch, this is, I think, the number 4 pitch. They said 156 was the score, and they said, okay, things will get better. The next time they played, the highest score since then has been 132. So, everyone's looking at this and wondering. And I think it does play into Kolkata's hands. Also, the fact that Kolkata has been playing more often on this pitch in the last few matches.
Yeah.
Okay? And with their current 11, with Shakib in, this is the kind of pitch that they would prefer to play on.
Yeah, Michael, definitely advantage to them if this is the kind of pitch that we've been seeing in Sharjah, right?
Yeah, KKR have not lost in Sharjah. They've beaten Delhi on this venue already in this tournament. So you would say that everything's in KKR's hand. They obviously beat the Challengers just a couple of days ago on the same pitch. So that has to have an effect. They've probably just stayed in the same dressing room. Again, that is nice as a player that you just lob your kit in the dressing room, you have it there for a few days, but it's a semi-final. Anything's possible. It'll be tight, it'll be pressurised, as the game against the Challengers was just a couple of days ago, where a relatively straightforward chase became quite hectic towards the end because there's so much at stake. And it'll just come down to which set of players can cope with the pressure, which set of players can get one or two individuals to do something special, one with the bat, one with the ball, and can they collectively field well as units. Ricky Ponting's sides, and particularly Delhi side, they lost the last game, but I thought the fielding was excellent. I thought their standard of fielding, which is very much a hallmark of what Ricky Ponting wants from his teams. It's not going to be easy for either side, but I just feel with KKR, and we've mentioned the spin options. Their middle order still looks a bit fragile, but the top of the order just kind of plays sensibly. Owen Morgan's yet to really get any runs. So it's been kind of collectively that KKR have got over the line. It's not been a standout individual every game. It's been a real team effort. I think they'll have to do it again today because Delhi, as much as everything's in KKR's favour because of the venue, Delhi will not make it.
Absolutely not. It's a champion team. I want to ask both of you a controversial question. Is it really? It's not really controversial. But I want to ask you this question before the toss happens, because the toss is going to happen in a few moments. Objectively, Joy, in this team, you're saying bat first? But that was not the question.
All right. Well,
this is hardly a controversial team selection. The other thing that you talk about. So, Joy, I'm going to come to you first for Delhi, right? Ashwin, great strategist, one of the greatest offies ever, not bowling off spin in this tournament for some strange reason. But obviously, big game player, you want big players and big games, etc. Yada, yada. But does Delhi believe that? Because he's bowled 3 overs in the last 2 games in total, right? So does he make your team? If not, can Mishra find a place there, considering that this pitch is something that he would like to kiss before and after every ball?
Good question, because they haven't really used him well. And I think somewhere, if there's one thing that Ricky Ponting needs to do, is somewhere integrate somebody of the class of Ashwin, and especially if you're going to play on a sprint-friendly surface, Ashwin is absolute certainty. My sense is that I would bring in Mishra anyway. I know it's going to upset the way that they've played, but look, they don't need 3 fast bowlers in this pitch. I mean, I really genuinely feel that if Tom Curran is there, or if Stoinis is there, you've got 3 international fast bowlers. Then you have Amit Mishra, Akshar Patel, and you have Ashwin. That's a different team altogether. I really genuinely believe, and look, it's all a business of horses for courses. I'm not, and I'm saying that when Kolkata won in 2012, because Balaji was injured, they played. Brendan McCullum was dropped. Brendan McCullum was dropped because they needed a fast bowler because Balaji was injured. So what happens is that Brett Lee comes in. So I'm saying the way Ponting has to look at it is to turn around and say, on this wicket, would I love to go with 3 spinners or 2? Do you want
okay, interesting. So drop one of the quicks then, because they've got Tom Curran, Avesh, Rabada, Nokia. Which of these 4? So you're saying play Ashwin, play Akshar. Which of these 4 then would make way for an Amit Mishra to come in?
You want my honest opinion?
Yeah.
I'd actually drop Avesh, and I'll tell you why. Because Curran gives me a little bit with the bat. And Rabada and Nokia just basically are international fast bowlers. Nokia is bowling beautifully. Rabada is just too good a player to miss playing a game like this.
Good point. Michael, would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, from the pitch that I saw 2 days ago, I'd be playing as many spinners as possible. I just get a world-class performer. Akshar Patel, R. Ashwin, you've got 3 match winners in their own right. I think Ashwin has to stop overthinking life.
Too cute.
He's an incredible off spinner, and he's bowling leg spin, and he's not bowling enough because he's bowling his leg. He's up there with the best off spinners in the world by a country mile. And he's got that dooser, he's got the variations, he changes his angle, he's got the quicker ball, he's got the arm ball. He's got everything in his armoury with his off spin to just bowl off spin. I'd be amazed if Ricky Ponting's not sat him down in the last few days and said, come on, let's just go back to the base. I know it's T20 cricket and it's flamboyant and you need a bit of X factor and difference, but don't overcomplicate life. He's too good, particularly on this kind of surface. We saw Chahal the other evening. Just bowl your best ball as many times as you possibly can, and the pitch will do the rest for you. So, I'm with Joy. I'd be playing all my spinners on this kind of surface because I do think the spinners could be the actual individuals that can win the game.
He's got 5 lefties to go up against in the top 8. Kolkata has 5 lefties there. So if that doesn't tempt Ashwin to go back to bowling off-piece, then I don't know what will. It really doesn't. All right, so we'll know in just... sorry, Joy, you wanted to add something to that?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, reminds me of something that Michael will know very well. It's called the Saqlain-Mushtaq syndrome. And Saqlain-Mushtaq's problem was in the mid-90s, he was the best one-day bowler in the world by a country mile. You know, if you look at stats, he was ahead of everyone. Problem was, he kept bowling his dusra till he reached a stage where he couldn't bowl the normal off-spin. When he couldn't bowl the normal off-spin, it becomes less effective. Because you need the normal off-spin to set up the guy. If you're only bowling dusras, and he just lost his action. And, you know, Wasim often talks about it. And this is something that happens with some bowlers. I don't think it's happening with Ashwin now. But I think to keep the batsman honest, you need to bowl your off-spin so that your dusra becomes effective. Your other balls will become effective if your stock ball is still good.
Yep. Yeah, that's interesting.
He's too clever. I think Ashwin's too clever. He's got too much going on in his brain. He's got too much information in there. Just sometimes in cricket, it helps when you're not intellectually that bright, because you just deliver skill and you just.
For example, who?
I know who I can talk about.
I played with many, and generally those that were a little bit. I mean, I'll name one name, and he was a great at the game. I'd say Jack Callis is not number one pick in your quiz team, but I tell you what, he's number one pick in your cricket team.
I like that line. That's a great line. Number one, because he had Joy in his team who could handle the quizzing when they were up at Calcutta. Sure, I was like, it's fine. I'll handle all the quizzing. By the way, I just want to tell you guys that I have completely messed up. I'll tell you what I've done, right? I've completely messed up. Today is the big game, the semi-final qualifier eliminator, right? And I actually had a jacket to wear, but it's lying there. I haven't worn it. Should I just do a quick clothing change? Listen, I've done films. We do clothing changes in the middle of a song, right? We do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. But in the meanwhile, I'm going to tell everybody that Kolkata has won the toss. They're not batting first. They are bowling first. They've put Delhi into bat. KKR is the same 11. It's unchanged. So while you guys talk about it, I'll quickly put my jacket on. Go for it.
Stoinis is back. It's interesting. That means touchwood, the injury is gone. But this Kolkata team seems very set for you, Michael.
Yeah, I know Morgan and what he's done with England. He stays very consistent when a team starts winning. So I guess Dre Russell, if he'd have had Dre Russ 90% fit, he may have opted for a change. But with that team that's played well and obviously won on this venue 2 days ago, I didn't think he was ever going to change. I mean, we mentioned on the show that if there was one player and one captain that potentially could drop himself for Dre Russell, it would be Owen Morgan, because he's that kind of personality. But no, it doesn't surprise me at all that they've gone with the same team.
Okay, here I am, just in case. Thank you.
Nice jacket.
Thank you very much.
Blue moon.
The blue moon. I wanted to make sure I have a color that has nothing to do with either of the teams, right? I just wanted to make sure that I am not. In fact, this looks a bit like the England color when you were playing, Michael. A bit like this. Early.
Yes. I can see where your allegiances are for the T20 World Cup already.
If you were still captain, there definitely would have been that.
Well played, Gaurav. Well played.
Let me tell you, if I was still captain of the T20 World Cup, we wouldn't have much chance of winning.
We obviously want to talk about captaincy, and I wanted to ask you that question about Morgan, but you've already answered it. Did you guys look at both teams? Were you efficient? Did you look at both teams while I was gone? No.
I think we should look at Delhi again.
Joy wouldn't let us look at Delhi. He's just saying it's all about.
But he was talking about the. I could hear him. He was talking about the Delhi team while the Calcutta team was. What is this, Joy? Amateur hour. Yeah. What's going on? Rookie mistake.
What more do they do with the Kolkata team? They haven't changed in the last 4 matches. What are we going to do about it? But Stoinis is back, and I think it makes a difference.
Big news,
because Stoinis is also the kind of bowler who won't be easy to get off on this surface. Sticky ball, he'll just put it in the pitch and it'll just come up there and sit up there. Additional batting, he's a batsman, so they can now throw their bats with a little bit more freedom, saying that, okay, we are batting just a little bit deeper, because Stoinis for Tom Curran, I think definitely Stoinis is a far superior bat. He's open for Australia. And so,
he's open for Delhi in the final last year, if you remember. They pushed him up when kind of Prithvi went over the cliff. They pushed him up. But, I'd not like to see that, Michael, because last year what happened is that because they kind of went on a losing streak towards the end of the league phase, they just overcomplicated. Rahane would come in, and there was Smith, and then Stoinis was opening. There was just too many things happening to a point where when they reached the final against Mumbai, it seemed like a kind of an engine that had run out of coal. There was just no steam left anymore, right? So they would avoid doing that today. They've only made the one change because the incumbent, the guy who was injured, comes back in, makes the team stronger, but don't get too cute with the batting order, right?
No, I don't think they will. That combo at the top of the order has been working nicely for them, so I can't imagine that they're going to change too much. I don't think they'll mind batting first. You know, in a big game like this, on a pitch like we've seen, you know, Joy mentioned that 132 was the score that's the highest score since that 156. Look, if they get 140, 150, they'll try and get more. But if they get to that kind of number, it's not going to be easy. We saw KKR only just get over the line chasing 138 on a couple of days ago. So I don't mind. You know, if I was Delhi, I'd be quite happy to be getting runs on the board.
Yeah,
in a game
the previous
like
game, if it was not for Sunil Narayan's 3 sixes that he came and hit, and even after he hit those sixes, it felt like Calcutta had forgotten that there's only 20 overs and they have to win the game in that. I don't know what was going on there. So they probably want to show just a little more pedal to the metal towards the end there, because they're going to be chasing again today. Delhi, of course, batting first. All right, let me quickly tell you about the match party that's happening, because it's one of the big games. It's a party, right? It is, what do I call it? It's a semi-final qualifier eliminates, SQE. And we have added to these. We also have Michael Vaughan on the match party today. So that's on Cricbuzz. Yeah. So what do you bring? Bringing
because it's a party. Because it's a party. Am I allowed to like drink pints of lager? And
of course,
it's a party, right?
You must.
I've done a couple of those.
Yeah,
I've done a couple of those, and they're great fun. They're absolutely great fun because, you know, they're guys singing songs, and they're guys who are making comments, and then they make outrageous promises. Like one of them promised, and he's a Bengali like me, and he promised to give up non-veg food for 24 hours. And he managed till 23 and a half hours, and then he said, I can't do it anymore. I'm a Bengali during the biggest festival that's happening. I cannot eat any more veg food. So lots of stuff happens out there. Michael, my only advice to you, don't make rash promises there. Don't tell them that, you know, if so-and-so team wins, I'm not going to drink for the rest of the day.
Well, I can. Look, I will say to all of them on the show that if you know something happens that I say, I'll buy them all a drink in Cheshire tonight. But they've got to get here.
It's true. It's true. But if the word party, if you don't have a pint of lager in your hand, we may want to check your citizenship and your passport, because that'll just mean that you're a scam. You're not truly from where you claim to be from. Anyway, let's have a look at also the teams that you have to make. We've shown you the teams that Kolkata and Delhi have made, but you can make your team as well. My11circle.com. Download the app. Choose your 11. Mix and match from the Delhi and Calcutta teams that are going to be on the field. And if they do well, just as the ones you pick, your first prize is 1 crore. That is right. That's 100,000 quid. Michael, that's not too shabby, eh?
That's more than 100,000 quid.
No, it can work with that.
That's 100,000. If it's 100,000.
Yeah, okay.
In fact, this is very rare that I can school Joy on numbers. In fact, it's just a smidge less than 100,000, because the pound's 102 or something now, isn't it?
Yeah.
The pound's 102.
That's what I'm checking. I'm checking the exchange pound rate.
102, 103? What is it?
Oh, well, 102. 102.7. Wow. I love it. You're a currency dealer when you don't know it. On the side, I think you're quickly doing these deals.
Take me to your dealer. All right, let's have a look at the My 11 Circle smart picks as well. We've got 3 of them to help you. Sunil, Narine, Venkatesh Iyer, and Avesh Khan. Why now? Why? See, you need these today because they're all gun players on both sides. Sunil Narine, of course, owns this surface. In fact, I think the tournament leases it from him to play there, and this season for sure, because he's been brilliant. It's the impact of what he's done. Michael, he owns this joint.
Oh yeah, he's high class. I mean, he was the difference in the game on Monday. He just had a night out with the ball, and then the impact with the bat. You know, and I think Now, worth mentioning where KKR using with the batting hand. I think they're strategically just kind of hovering. He may go in first, he may go in third, he might go in fifth. It just depends on the situation, the matchup of the bowlers bowling. We'll have to wait and see. I think he'll want to probably go out there when Axar Patel's on, left arm spinner, bringing it in. He'll probably try and go with the spin. But I think to have that kind of player in your pack, that you can surprise the opposition with when you use him, particularly with the batting hand. It's worth it, because those 3 sixes in that over off Dan Christian, you can probably argue that was the difference between the two sides at the end of the game.
How is he so chill, Joy? He's just too chill.
Look, I've seen him from the very start. The thing about him is that he is completely zen about the game, and he's genuinely zen. And while batting, he does not care anything about defense or anything. His thing is that how can I hit the ball? So he's not going to say I'm going to pick a 1 or a 2. Either if I can't hit it, I'll avoid it. If not, I'll whack it as hard as I can. And he plays table tennis the same way, which is why the only place I could beat Sunil Narine was at table tennis, because all you had to do is push the ball back twice. The third time he'll give it an almighty whack, and he would just not. So Sunil does not take any prisoners while batting, while playing table tennis, and therefore it suits him because there's no pressure on him. Lots of batsmen in a situation like this come under pressure. The team knows that he may get 0, he may get out first ball on a horrible swipe, completely, cross bat swipe. But that's what he is. That's the package. So that's why his mind is exactly the opposite of Ashwin's. His mind is very, very clear. And similarly, like bowling, I want to tell you one thing. If you saw the previous match, Sunil Narine from 2012 onwards, he always has one ball which he puts away in his back pocket for the qualifiers semis. Okay. There's one little variation that he just changes, which he puts away in his back pocket, and he brings it out only now. So there was this one ball that moved away, and you can make out that he's not bowled that ball so far at all in the series. And that's the one thing that Sunil Narine does so well. Because
I wonder what it is. I wonder what the ball is today. Does it go
bouncer?
Lands and go under the pitch, and then
that's good. So, which is why I've seen so many people watching Sunil Narine at the nets, and you watch him in the nets, you wonder what's the fuss all about, because he's not bowling any of his stuff. He's not.
Interesting. Well, there you go. Sunil Narine, he's enjoyed himself at Sharjah. Even when he was batting, it seemed like he was batting on a different surface in the middle overs. Everyone seemed to be struggling, but you saw what he did in that match. Basically, single-handedly won it for them, as Michael said. Let's have a look at the second player that we suggest you should pick. It's Venkatesh Iyer. This guy has been the difference. He really has been for Kolkata from installment 1 to installment 2. Fair to say this guy's really been the big difference, Michael.
Yeah, consistency. That's what you're after. If you can get players striking like he's done this year and being consistent, there's the combination that you're after. He just looks to be quite calm. I think he's worked out his mentality of what he needs to do, and I think he knows his zones where he can hit the boundaries, and when it's not in those zones, he knows how to rotate the strike. It looks very much an all-round T20 player now, which has got all the options of boundaries at the right time, against the pace, against the spin, and he's calm. So it doesn't surprise me when you've got a leader like Owen Morgan, you've got a coach like Baz McCullum. I think they'll be working their tricks with a lot of these players in terms of the mental side of how you play T20 cricket, and it seems to be paying off.
He's also been picked as not standby, but he's in the squad, right, with India to help them train. I don't know if have they taken Venkatesh Iyer as a bowler? I don't. Probably Joyce. It's probably as a backup, right? I mean,
but see, what it's a way of keeping him with the squad. They want to keep him with the squad. They want to save him for injury. They want somebody who's quarantined and there. But you can't say it's a batsman because you're not allowed backup batsman. He's not in the reserve list. So what can they call him? They can call him a net bowler. He's a bowler. He's bowling in the nets. So it's a dodge.
Why is there no concept of net batters? Why can't you just have net batters, Michael? You have net bowlers. Why this discrimination?
He'll tell you exactly why.
The world of cricket confuses me more and more every day. It's like, surely you can just pick whoever you want until the tournament starts. Just pick them.
That's right.
If you wanted to have 50 there, you can have 50. But by the way, by the time the tournament starts, you've got to dwindle it down to 15. It's like
I have to tell you this really terrific story where I'm sitting in Calcutta, and this is that dreadful 2009 series when KKR came last. So basically, the coach John Buchanan had not arrived till then. So you had to pick a squad because your squad is going to go and play. And they said that pick a squad. And we've got all these guys from all over the country, all Indian players, about 40 Indian players camping out there, out of which we have to select 5. But till John is there, we can't do it. And we had to announce the squad on a particular day. So I looked at the clause and I said, look, there's no place where it's written that you need to say how big your squad is or how small your squad is. So we went and we announced without John a squad of 62 players because John had not chosen the player. And I suddenly get apoplectic phone calls from the IPL saying, why have you chosen 60, 70 players? And he said, look, is it in your clause? We've got all these players out here. And I'll be damned till John comes. We are not going to decide who's going to play or not play till John comes.
Yeah.
So yeah, KKR, if that season started, it started with 62 players. It ended with 3 victories out of 14. So I'm not surprised at all.
What do they say about too many cooks? Avesh Khan, well, he's got too many wickets this season, hasn't he? Not if you think from the Delhi hat on, it's not too many. You want him to take some more. And he's managed to take them in Sharjah, Michael. Ian Bishop had a call the other day, said that Avesh Khan is the most improved bowler that he has seen from season to season. A lot of other people have said that as well. See a lot of improvement in him.
Yeah, I mean, India have got a lot of riches in the bowling department now. I mean, there's so many players that you could choose upon. Harshal Patel, another outstanding T20 bowler. Avesh Khan's another one. And then obviously you've got all the experienced guns that'll be arriving and playing well in the T20 World Cup. Variation, skill and holding your nerve. That pretty much is T20 cricket. And also not being too downbeat when someone gets hold of you. That's really a massive key in the shorter version of the game. Is someone will get you. It's just how you react, and you understand every single. I think this is probably the first year I've watched and thought that there's been a bit of a mindset change with the bowling. That every bowler, from what I see, is actually seeing, whether it's the pitches, seeing every delivery as an opportunity to get a wicket. Where I always felt it was almost. Some bowlers kind of just running up to bowl and holding in there and just trying to make sure that they don't go for too many runs. I feel like it's been a bit of a mindset change where all bowlers are now running, going, right, how am I getting a wicket? Because that's the only way really that you can stop these quality batters from striking and these powerful batting lineups from going really, really big. You've got to get them out. And I think Avesh Khan's up there. He's got a good record on this ground, so he'll be looking forward to bowling on this kind of stuff. There will be something for all the bowlers today. It's not going to be a road. It's not going to be a flat old Sharjah wicket that we've seen back in the day, back in the 90s, where in a one-day game they get 350 easily. 140, 150, probably around that score. So I think there's going to be something there for the bowlers.
Well, I mean, the toss went Calcutta's way. They've decided to field first. Rishabh Pant at the toss said that I would have also chosen to bowl first, but that's what all captains say. Nobody's going to walk away from it saying, I lost. Yeah, I got what he today is admitting that I didn't get what I wanted because most other captains say the other. They go like, no, this is exactly what I wanted to do. But Rishabh also said that I wanted to field first. I'll tell you why. Because 4 of Delhi's 5 defeats in the season have come when they've batted first, right? So it is their Achilles heel. And on the other side, Kolkata have won all the 5 games that they have chased in the UAE. So, Joy, it is definitely, why Rishabh was saying that he wanted to chase as well. But this is definitely, again, advantage Calcutta starting the game.
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest problem on pitches like this current tricky Sharjah pitch is what's a good target? Is it 140? Should I play for a 140 target? Should I play for 145? Should I play for 160? So if you play for 140 and you've got a few wickets in hand, you might just reach 160. But if you're going to play for a 160, you might just end up at 120. So the big thing is the early call, and that has to be taken by somebody like a Shikhar batting out there saying, look, this is a sticky pitch. If you get 140, we're going to try and hit in the first 6 overs. But after that, just don't give away wickets. Hold wickets till at least the 11th, 12th. Just try and rotate the strike. So that whole decision-making process is what makes this ground a problem.
It's really interesting because because Michael Joy has mentioned once before how Callis used to be the pitch reader, right? Where he could bat for 2 overs and tell you this is a 130 pitch, this is a 150 pitch, this is a 170 pitch. Today, Delhi will really need somebody like a Shikhar to gauge that from them really early on, because it's completely right. You try to outbat Calcutta by saying we'll get 180. You could really wrap up if this is not that kind of surface even close.
Yeah, that's where experience comes into play, and also you look at Prithvi Shaw, who's played well, particularly in the last game. He could be the difference, because if he comes out and bats for 30, 40 balls and gets 60, 70 runs quickly, they could get to that 160, 170. It's just reading the situation, it's reading the pitch, it's understanding what is a competitive score. What you don't want to do batting first is, get a score that's so far under par that KKR could have 5 or 6, iffy overs with the bat and they can still win the game. You've just got to get to that number that they're going to have to bat well. I go to the kind of stage when you get to this stage of any tournament. I throw in the bin what's happened before. I throw in the bin the fact that KKR have won every game. I don't care, because they're due to lose. Then that's they're due to. It's all about individuals, captains, reading the pitch, reading the situation, and playing smart. If you think you can just play gung-ho, fearless cricket at this stage of any tournament, you go back to the World Cup when England won. You don't win any tournament by just playing one way. And when it comes to this stage of a tournament, it's all about this. It's all about playing smart, and the team that plays the smartest over the course of the next few hours will
smart
win the game.
cricket. Well, we've got some of Delhi's key battles lined up for you. Let's have a look and get Michael and Joy in on them and what they think about these. Of course, about Prithvi, we're talking about Prithvi right now. The middle order against Calcutta spin. We already spoke about Ashwin, and of course, who bowls at the death. So I'm going to start you off with the middle order versus Calcutta spin. The best way to do is don't expose the middle order. Just keep getting Prithvi and Dhawan to keep batting.
It is a challenge, but I think Kolkata will play bowl spin in the first 6 as well. They're going to sneak in a couple of overs of somebody, and I think the best equipped really are the Indian batsmen. I mean, if Rishabh gets going, Shikhar is a key. Shikhar has not lasted very long, but if Shikhar lasts, because see, Prithvi plays the game one way. Prithvi is not going to change gears, not going to change anything, and I don't think his remit is to do it also. Yeah. His job is to go there and blast, because he can give them 55, 60 runs in the first 6 because he's anyway going to take risks. So if Prithvi tries to play defense, that's a risk for him. You'd rather him play his natural game and play what he's doing. So I think it's up to Shikhar. If Shikhar lasts, Shikhar plays spinners well. Shikhar is a good player of spin, and I think Shreyas and Rishabh are the key. I mean, Shimran still is whatever it is. Sunil Narine is terrific bowler, but I think those 3 batsmen are the key for playing against spin. Shikhar has to last.
Yeah, because these 3 can really strangle you in the middle overs. Yeah, Michael?
Yeah, you look at that economy rate, 5.75, 4.83 and 5 for Shakib. It clearly is a pitch where, it's difficult. It's difficult to face the spinners. So if I was, kind of setting out a plan for the batters, of course, if someone bowls a bad ball, you've got to have the mindset of smashing it. But, if you can take the spinners at 6 and 7s without, undue risk and rotate the strike, play clever cricket, every now and again, you're going to get a boundary naturally. So if you can hit the spinners for 25 of their 4 overs to 28, I think you're in the kind of mindset and game plan of getting a very competitive total. I guess bowling to death, that's going to be crucial, because Delhi set, they're going to have to kind of turn to someone like Rabada, I guess, at the end of the innings. They used Tom Curran in the last game, and Tom got 3 for, but that last over was a bit indifferent, and it was struck nicely by Chennai. So I would think they'll probably turn back to Rabada, an experienced pro to bowl.
We, of course, have to look at Kolkata's bowling, because they're bowling first. And we keep talking about their spinners. They've got 3 solid spinners, of course. And they've got an international champion in Loki Ferguson, which puts a lot of pressure, Joy, on Mavi. Let's look at their playing 11. It puts pressure on them. Bring it. Come on, don't be shy. Come on, chop. There you go. A lot of pressure on young Mavi, because as Mavi, right, that, listen, they're going to be targeting me a bit. And then it's your choice. Do you get overwhelmed by it, or do you use that to your advantage? You relish the challenge.
Yeah, they have to take risks against him, because if there's any bowler in this lineup, they're going to target is Mavi. They have to target him. Watch out what Kolkata might do. They might do is sneak in a couple of overs of somebody like, you have somebody like a Nitish Rana bowl a couple of overs there, and suddenly or Venkatesh Iyer comes and bowls once, change up. Expect that to happen. If Mavi goes for a few, expect them to take at least 1 or 2 overs of Mavi, because what can happen in the end is Sunil Narine, Varun Chakravarti, both can bowl in the death with Lockie. Both of them have the ability to bowl that 17th, 18th, 19th over. So they don't need to finish Mavi necessarily. I think if Mavi gets hit in the beginning, they might think about how they play him and say, maybe, 3 overs for him. He may not finish his quota.
Yeah, well, Prithvi and Shreyas have scored a lot of runs off him in the past. But yeah, they have the advantage that they have a Nitish Rana. They may just bowl him in the power play. They've done that before. And now they have an Indian World Cup bona fide net bowler in Venkatesh Iyer as well. So, could always turn to him, right? For a couple. So, yeah, there's not much respite for the Delhi batters there. So, probably see them going hard right in the power play as well, especially somebody like Prithvi. All right. So, Joy has obviously not started his Instagram account yet. Hopefully, he will start it when the game begins.
Where did I have the time? And when am I going to do it?
Come on. It's not like this show takes too much bandwidth. Come on. Come on. You can order food and stuff while you're doing this. You can definitely reactivate an Instagram account. But right now, you have to ask your Joy Factor question. I'm so happy you're here. And because, it's a short question today when you have to read it yourself. Interesting.
Okay, which cricketer's list of one-day international victims reads Alistair Cook, Craig Kiswetter, Quinton de Kock, and Brendan McCullum? It's a pretty impressive list. But those were that's the complete list of this person.
That's it. Only 4. That's it. Is it Michael Vaughan?
It's not Michael Vaughan, because it will be difficult for him to take Alistair Cook, who plays for the same team as him. That's the only reason it's not Michael Vaughan. And Michael Vaughan was actually a pretty decent offie in his time. He's a pretty decent bowler at this time. How many wickets did you get, Michael? One day international? You must have got a few.
Not too sure, Joy, but I never got caught up for a World Cup as a net bowler.
That was well played. Very well played.
Nice. That was the dusra. Well done. Any guesses, Michael? Anything from you? Let's show that list again.
Joy's questions always go straight.
Yeah, let's have a look again. Let's see. There's Kiswetter is there as well. So 2 England, 1 New Zealand, 1 South Africa. It's not Rahul Dravid, I know.
Okay, go for that's it. Let these guys answer. Yeah, this is the glory they're going to get. Somebody like a Tonmoy or somebody else, Crick Rohit has just already answered it and waiting for all the glory.
They haven't.
Shikhar Dhawan's not bowled.
Nice try. Shikhar Dhawan is a nice try. Okay, no more. Now you guys are coming close to territory. I'm not going. That's it.
Listen,
that's it.
The other 2 guys that you named, they haven't sent the correct answer yet, because I haven't seen you pick up your phone and answer as them. If you can do that, then I'm sure you can activate your IG account as well. Come on, get it done. Joy Bhattacharjya. Joy Bhattacharjya, the millennial, multitasking with many, many screens. So one last piece of business. What is your score prediction? Sharjah, Delhi put into bat first. How much do you think they're going to get? Come on, guys. This is the most important, more important than any other game.
147.
I like that call. Nice. I would have probably gone for something like that as well. Joy?
I'm going to go a bit higher, just to break up the monotony. 153.
153. Should I go 160 in Sharjah? Jeez. People will think I have a pint of lager already in my coffee cup. If I go for 160. But what the hell? Let's go for 160. All right. I'm going for 160. We want a good game, We want a good. I'm done with these. I'm done with these 130, 135 snooze fest, man. I can't do it anymore. I've just had a root canal today. The anesthesia is still not worn off. You give me another 130 game, I'll be asleep by 10 p.m. I just can't. I can't do it, man. I just can't. All right. That's all we have time for right now. We'll be back at the 10th over with Cricbuzz Combox. So do join us then. And of course, we'll be back with this very show at the end of the Delhi batting effort. I don't know what the show's called, so whatever it is, we'll be... No, I'm kidding. This is Cricbuzz Live in association with our fantasy partner, My 11 Circle. I have not forgotten our sponsor. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Joy. I'm Gaurav Kapur. We'll see you all in a bit. Thanks for watching.